Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode review and breakdown for Stargirl Season 2. And if you haven't seen it already, I did do actually a breakdown of the trailer slash teaser slash special look, I think is what they were officially calling it, that we got for Stargirl Season 2 at DC Fandom. It mainly focused on this episode, so if you watched the episode, then there's really no point. But still, I talked about some pretty cool stuff there, so if you haven't seen that, definitely go and check that out. But today we are talking about Stargirl Season 2, Episode 11, aka Summer School, Chapter 11. And we are nearing the end of the season here. We just have 2 episodes left after this episode, which honestly is kind of crazy, like how far we've come with the season, but it's been such a great season, and this episode is no different. It was another great episode that brings back multiple characters from the first season, just as we've seen previously in season 2, so that was really cool to see, and a whole bunch of other stuff goes down here as well. So of course, before we get into this, quick spoiler warning if you've not yet seen this episode, because we are breaking this down in depth, but let's go ahead and jump into breaking down Stargirl Season 2, Episode 11. So we open up the episode on just such a heartbreaking note here, because it opens up on Pat and Jenny walking into the Dugan Whitmore residence household, and Jenny has the cosmic staff and Courtney is not there. So that's basically when Barbara and Mike get the news that Courtney is dead, or at least they assume she's dead because they don't think they can get her back. But it's just such a heartbreaking moment, especially because there was no sound for this. At least I don't think there was sound. Maybe there was music, but like nobody was saying anything. Like as soon as they walked through the door, like Barbara just knew exactly what was going on here, and just so heartbreaking. I mean, that's her daughter. You really see her dedication throughout this episode with like how much she really cares about Courtney. But like I said, what they don't know is she's not actually dead. So she actually wakes up in the Shadowlands. So everything is in black and white here. So she wakes up here just getting used to this new world, and she walks into the diner where she runs into the Xerics. All 3 of them, who in the real world are all 3 dead, and they actually end up turning against her and getting a little creepy there. So she of course runs out the door, and then all of a sudden she's in school, and that's where she gets to see Anya Bowen and also Isaac Bowen, who also both are dead. But then Cindy appears out of nowhere in her Shiv costume and just attacks Courtney until she realizes that she's real, because she realizes that she's actually bleeding, and because Cindy is one of the other ones in this world that is actually real, that was actually sucked and trapped into the Shadowlands. So everything and everyone else here is fake. It's kind of just like an illusion. So then she actually goes on to explain a little bit about this later, after Dragon King emerges, so they escape, and then they end up in a bedroom where she explains what this is. So this is the Shadowlands where Eclipso was born. And just like as I mentioned in my trailer breakdown, they're calling it basically a purgatory, where each character who's really actually alive sees characters and people and places that are relevant to their past that will kind of haunt them. And, that's Eclipse's whole thing, is that he uses people's fears against themselves. So that's what this basically whole reality is about. But Courtney's just not having it. She doesn't want to work with Cindy, so she's just on her way out. So she just runs out the door and finds herself on Christmas Eve, where Barbara's going to work, and then Barbara gets all mad at her and stuff, because in this version, Courtney, since she's an adult here, or at least teenager, like she's the babysitter taking care of young Courtney, but then, like I said, Barbara goes a little wacky there, and then Cindy ends up pulling her back. So Cindy actually ends up then seeing her mom, and then a bunch of Dragon King zombies end up taking her away. So then Courtney disappears into the Shadowlands, where she meets Dr. Midnight. We saw this reveal a couple episodes ago, where it was revealed that Dr. Charles McNider, the real one, is actually alive, and he's been trapped in the Shadowlands. So he's able to find Courtney and basically bring her to safety to, again, basically an illusion of the JSA garage. And he basically explains like what he's been doing all these past years, and how his goggles are really what kept him sane, as are Beth's goggles in real life. So that was nice to see that nice little explanation there as well. But meanwhile, in the real world, Jenny finds the Shade using the Green Lantern ring, so then Pat and Barbara go to ask for his help so that he can maybe open a gateway to the Shadowlands, because he's the one that's trapped people there like Charles McNider, so hopefully he can bring them back out. So that's exactly what he does. He opens up a gateway. Courtney and Dr. McNider see Pat and Barbara and the Shade, but unfortunately, they don't go through because Courtney says she wants to go save Cindy first. So she's not going to forget about Cindy. So she goes back through, sees a bunch of more visions, including Yolanda and Rick. Young Bruce Gordon, aka Eclipso, is just taunting her through this whole thing. But eventually, she does end up finding Cindy. They defeat Dragon King, and all three of them are able to escape the Shadowlands. So you think like, oh yay, happy ending, everybody survived and everything. But no! Because of this, because the Shade opened up this gateway with already his powers not being in the greatest condition because Eclipso broke the Black Diamond once again, he then dies, or at least I assume he dies. That's kind of what we're meant to assume. Maybe he did somehow survive, but he kind of dies from exhaustion because he's just all out of power. His battery is dead, and he just like fades away into a black, shadowy smoke cloud, which, you know, kind of feel bad for the Shade. But I love this moment though, how the last thing he says is that just tell everyone that I died doing something good, because, you know, he's been known most of his life as a villain, or at least an anti-hero, so he went out doing something good. And again, I don't know for sure if he's dead. That's kind of just what we're meant to assume, but he could totally come back to life because he did just fade away into a shadowy cloud. So who knows? We really don't know exactly for sure. But with that, now Cindy has decided to team up with Courtney and the JSA to take down Eclipso. So that's what we're kind of going to be seeing in next week's episodes, just like the final plan of how they're going to defeat Eclipso, all the JSA doing their final bits of training, now with Cindy among their ranks, and who knows what's going to happen with her, whether she's officially redeemed and officially becomes an official permanent member of the JSA, or maybe if it's just a one-time thing just to defeat Eclipso and then she goes off on her own. I don't know for sure, but I'm definitely really excited to find out. This again was another great episode. We've only got 2 episodes left of the season. I'm so excited to see where things go from here. But for now, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about Stargirl Season 2, Episode 11? So guys, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.